Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Illumin Guru. It's Kimberly, and I have a video that I have been really guided to make because of all of your comments and emails as of the past week. So interesting to see the common themes, but everyone's been commenting about signs and distinguishing signs and synchronicities and from manifestations, and I'm going to really delve into the subject in this video, okay? First, I want to offer you a couple of reminders. One is watch my full moon in Pisces forecast. That has a lot of good information for this upcoming full moon. It's the energy that we're currently in and what we're going to be experiencing over the next few days. I then expanded upon that in my email blast, and I reposted that email blast. If you don't receive my emails, I reposted it on the Illumined Guru Facebook page, so you can check that out there. That's where I wrote a big written forecast. Sort of expanded upon what was already channeled in the video. If you don't get my emails already, you can sign up on theilluminguru.com. Just scroll to the bottom, enter your email address, and you'll start getting those. And for those of you wanting to work one-on-one for a reading, intuitive guidance session, or a soul coaching session to do regression work or any sort of work that will help you clear the blocks and find clarity at this time, you can sign up for that on my website. Like I said, just click on sessions on theilluminguru.com. And then lastly, there are just a couple of spots left in my September intensive program. This is running for 3 weeks, September 10th through the 30th. It's a great time to be learning. It's a great time to refocus on our self-mastery. This is also a pivotal time of up-leveling. Many in the collective are going through huge shifts between September and October. I mean, big. So this might be a great time to explore the root issues further, clear blocks, come into your alignment, and fully harness your power. And this course will help you do that. So check that all out on the website as well. And also one last thing, if you haven't checked out vibeup.com, you can do online courses on your own pace on VibeUp. It's vibup.com. Okay, so let's talk about signs. A huge subject. I've posted videos on this in the past. You guys may have seen some of them. I may say some of the same things, but I don't go back and rewatch the videos. So you're probably going to get a whole bunch of new information too. So lately, the pattern has been similar questions coming from clients and audience members, which is, how do I distinguish? Well, firstly, everyone's curious about signs right now. They heard me mention the sign that I got with the license plate sign in my video. And I know all of you, so many of you get signs. You get license plates, you get numbers, and let me give you like my basics course, and then we'll get into the questions that I've been asked. Okay, so the basics, the way I teach signs is not anything that was taught to me. I opened up to signs when I was about 16 years old. I always had clairsenses. I was always empathic. I always had clairvoyance. I had clairsentience. I was claircognizant as a little kid. But when I was a teenager, I met a soul connection, and it was through that soul connection, not through him, but through the connection, something in that connection was faded, and it was in my life at that time so that I would wake up to the signs, and it was through that connection that I gained the awareness. It was pretty intense for a 16-year-old, but I will tell you that I learned how to navigate quickly, and I learned how to trust it quickly. And now I'll just tell you guys, I'm almost 40, and I've been working with this for decades. So I'm not a novice. I would say in many ways, I'm sort of an honorary expert, just because I've been working with the signs for so long. So the advice that I'm going to give you about interpretation, it is my own perspective. It is my own wisdom. It's not from a textbook. If it doesn't resonate for you, don't fret. Just, don't take it. Just take only what resonates for you. And, but I can pretty much tell you that when I usually share my wisdom, There's a resonance because a lot of this stuff is tried and true, and a lot of it is up for you to interpret, and I'll explain that in a minute. So it's not up to me to tell you how to interpret. You're going to find your own interpretation. So let's just talk about that for a minute. So when you see signs, so your first question might be, you get signs with other people, not just your twin flame? Yep, you get signs from your higher self, from your guide team, your guides, your spirit guides are sending you signs. You're getting signs, and that's usually who's implementing the signs in your life. But you're getting signs inspired by the connection, or if there's a message from your higher self that you're needing to hear, if there's some guidance to keep you, safe or on the right track, you're being guided that way. If you have a decision to make, there'll be signs put in your way to help guide you to your highest course. It's very important to get to know your spirit guide team, because I was working with signs all those years, like decades. And it wasn't up until a few years ago that I took a course and learned how to meet my spirit guides. And when I did, I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. I understood who had been sending me what and why and how they were communicating with me, and it helps me now communicate with them better. So I can put my hands on information quicker. I can listen to the intuition and the guidance more soundly. I understand the lingo and the language better. I understand the realm of communication. For those of you wanting to take that course, I'm no longer offering it as a workshop, which I did last year, but it is up on Vibe Up. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up on Vibe Up and you'll have access to that through one of the courses. So anyhow, meeting your spirit guide team is pivotal, because then you can develop a clearer language with the signs that you're receiving. Signs can come in all forms. I mean, frequently we get them in this ascension process via, like you guys know, right? When I was 16, I was getting them on license plates. I was getting them on numbers. You used to have, back then you had like caller ID on the phone, like different numbers that would come up on the phone, clocks. I was tapped in long ago. And you can get the signs, synchronicities, messages through your songs and music, right? And this is often how our spirit guides talk to us, especially if you're clairaudient, right? If you're more visual, you might get more, or clairvoyant, you might get more visual signs, okay? So when you see the signs, the thing is that there's no one interpretation. Sometimes we get signs, I've talked about this in the past, that are very literal, like very literal. They say, like the other day, I had this thing. I was going back and forth in my mind about a decision. And I had thought to myself, I need to go with my first choice. That was my thought. I need to go with my first choice. There's a reason why I keep going back to my first choice. About a minute later, this truck on the highway came whizzing past me. And in big letters on the back and on the side, the logo was first choice. So that to me was an instant confirmation that the dialogue I had just had with myself, that was like a validation, right? I didn't doubt it. I knew that the universe was like validating that for me. It takes a while to develop a language. That was very literal, right? That was very like, you think it, it's confirmed, or you think it, it's validated. Sometimes they're such literal signs that they'll just smack you over the head, right? Like if you're thinking of going east or west, let's just say, all of a sudden, like a car or truck or some logo will be in front of you that says move west, or or there'll be an arrow that points west. Like I've had that happen where I've had clouds form arrows in the sky when I was wondering which direction to go in. So you're always so guided. The signs are around you all the time. It's just opening up your awareness to that level. When I first started doing the signs or being aware of them, it was fun. It was fascinating. It was interesting. It was a little crazy, I thought, but I learned to trust it quickly. And then like later in my journey, in my early 20s, I went through a very intense period with the signs, probably about 2 years, where I was entrenched in them in another soulmate relationship, another particular relationship. And you cannot keep up that level of awareness for that long. Like, I was really hyper aware for a long time. But it was almost like that was my training so that I could relax into that energy. So now it's like I have that heightened sense of awareness. It's part of who I am. It doesn't pull at me. It doesn't require any extra energy from me. It did at first because it was so intense and so I was so immersed in it. But now it's a part of who I am. So everyone in my world pretty much knows that I'm the sign girl, right? It's hard for me to hide it. I don't try to hide it, but I think I used to try to dim it down a little bit. But it's part of who I am. It's almost in everything that I do. I'm always referring to this sign or that sign or something. It just is. It's a way of life for me. And it can become a way of life for you too, that awareness. It takes practice with yourself. It takes practice developing a language with the signs. This is not something where it's like my sign means the same as your sign. It doesn't. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's your language that you develop with your guides, with your signs, right? And sometimes it takes a while for the less literal signs, the ones that are just like have a feeling or feels like a little nudge or a little wink from the universe, to understand what those are until you get a pattern of them going. So I always recommend, and I've said this before, take photographs of the signs if you can, right? Take images like of license plates and price stickers that have certain numbers and the clock when it says a certain time or whatever it is that you're receiving. Take pictures. That helps you build sort of like a little evidence journal for what you're receiving. So over time, you can kind of look back at that and you can create your own definition, right? You'll see what kind of manifests from it, or you'll start to say, you know what? I had this feeling about it. What I always do, if I can't discern, if I can't really discern what my intuition is about a particular sign, is I would recommend that you ask yourself, well, does this feel good or bad? Right? Start real general. Go, does this feel good or bad? Does this feel light or dark? So you would say, okay, it feels good, or it feels light. And then you would say, okay, does this feel like it has a particular message around it? Well, the message is vague, but maybe I thought, because sometimes there's like an underlying thought that we haven't let ourselves latch onto, a hunch about what it might mean. Let that knowing come into your mind. Don't attach to it, but just let it come in. So then once you have that knowing and you know whether it feels light or dark or good or bad, no signs are bad, but is it like a warning or is it something that's guiding you? Does it feel light? Does it feel heavy? You can ask you could ask yourself, is there a particular color around the sign? That sometimes just helps the fuzziness of you not knowing how to distinguish what it is. And you can do this with anything that you're feeling intuitively. I always have my clients do that when they ask this question. It's like, is it light or dark? Does it feel good or bad? Dark or heavy? Does it feel, is it feminine or masculine in energy? Does it have a voice? What color would it have if you tapped into the color of the feeling, And we all receive our messages in different ways. Like I said, some of you, it's just a feeling. Some of you, you see it in images. Some of you, it's, you hear things. And sometimes it's just a knowing. Sometimes you'll see the sign and you'll just know right away, right? Other times it's a little hazier and we have to wait to build up a language. So you are using your clear senses with the signs, by the way. That is all involved in the signs. It's not separate. So allow yourself to develop a dictionary with the signs. For example, let's just say there were, let's say, like, there's universal signs too, and then there's your personal signs. So a lot of times, like, you'll get number patterns and sequences that are like your angels. telling you you're protected, or it's just the 1111, like the awakening that you're going through. It's reminding you of your connectedness, your oneness to fellow man, and it's that, or it could be something that you notice when you have a particular thought that manifests. Like it could be sometimes when you think something habitually, you'll see the same thing like come into your experience. Pay attention to those things. There is a correlation there. Whenever you start to see the patterns, there's a meaning, there's something. Sometimes they will be obscure. It's just the wink or nudge or love from the universe. It's just your angels giving you like a little nudge, or it's just the reminder that you're a part of something bigger, or the reminder that you're protected or loved. And other times they're really unique signs just for you. It's like a guidance that's coming through for you. And those are the ones that I think you guys struggle the most with, because that's when you're like, I don't know what this means. Like, why do you think I keep seeing this? And it's like, sit with it. Let it keep coming into your experience. See what you feel about that. Trust that. Write it down, right? Make a little logbook. Saw it again. Saw it here. That's what I did. I have journals from those 2 years in my 20s, that intense period when I was working with the signs. I journaled, and it's just journals and journals and journals filled with all the synchronicities. From newspaper clippings to me writing out the number patterns that I was seeing, license plate numbers. I mean, I don't think we were using smartphones back then, but so I couldn't snapshot all that stuff. But even to this day, sometimes I'm in full trust, and I've been working with them for a long time, but sometimes I still snapshot the signs. It helps me be in complete full belief of it. It helps me go back to it later and sit with it for a bit and say, okay, what did that mean? Or wonder in the amazement of it, The thing about it too that I've mentioned in the past is sometimes you guys, especially in the twin flame journey, when you're getting these signs that feel reminiscent of your connection, or feel like a reminder of your connection, or a validation of your connection, it irks you because you feel like, well, nothing's happening in the 3D. Like, why are the signs torturing me? And that's where you're really going to have to work on shifting your perception and your relationship to that to make that more harmonious. You're keeping yourself resistant to the signs when you do that. And they're asking you to, signs are magical. The way that you're being guided, you're reaching into your higher self, your higher guidance, right? That's 5D. And I think because we're anchoring into these higher dimensions now, like a lot of you, like your awareness is heightening, the synchronicities are heightened, the signs are heightened. And that's why I'm getting all of these questions from all over the place. So trust. And when you receive the signs, no matter what they are, feel grateful and get lost in the amazingness of it. The place where we err is when we latch onto it. We immediately attach like our hunch to it, and then we latch onto it. So for example, and you guys will all laugh because I'm sure at one time or another you have experienced this with your twin flame. Let's say you receive a sign, it reminds you of your twin, or it's some wink or nod from the universe that the connection is alive. Let's say you're not physically talking to your twin flame. Let's say that there's been no communication, but you get this big nod from the universe that she's thinking of you, or that connection's alive. Now, usually twin flames become frustrated at that point because they're like, why am I seeing this? I just want to forget about that person. But see, it's not up for you to control your twin flame. It's not up for you to control the situation or to make a decision. Your job in this journey is to align with your higher self and find the alignment from within. Go all the way into yourself, which means releasing all of those attachments. Anything fear-based, anything that keeps you holding on, controlling, and keeps you from surrender. So when you find your alignment, you'll be able to just receive those signs better, smile at them, trust them, and then just let it go, right? And even if you don't know what they mean right away, you'll know in time that will reveal itself to you, right? You'll know in time. It'll be a pattern. You'll You'll get a hunch. You'll know. Or there'll be some physical validation of what it meant, right? Sometimes signs foreshadow something. Sometimes they're trying to guide us in one direction or another. There's all sorts of ways that we receive signs and reasons why. So I know that in this video, there's going to be a whole slew of questions, and I hope that I've answered a lot of what you guys already are thinking about or asking. But the next piece I want to talk about is the difference between calling signs into your experience and signs coming into your experience. Okay, divinely. All right, so this has been the question that I keep receiving this week. It's come up 3 times already with 3 different clients of mine, on an email, in a session, and then on one of the comments in the videos. So I'm like, okay, this is something that needs to be addressed. Obviously, it's something that's coming up in the collective. So when you focus on an object or there's a manifestation exercise, and I have a whole article about the magic of manifestation, about trusting your guidance, and then also becoming a deliberate creator. And when my clients are first learning how to manifest and becoming aware of where they do block themselves in their manifestations, it's really important that they start to play like a little game. And the game is great because it teaches you that manifestation is only blocked when we're emotionally attached. So in this game per se, what I have you do is I have you pick an object that you have no emotional attachment to. Like, you don't feel good or bad or anything. You just don't. It's just kind of an arbitrary object or vision of something. An object is great. Pick something simple like a pen, right? Like something that, like, I have no connection to this pen. I don't care about this pen one way or another because I got like 50 other pens here, right? So pick something like that you don't have an attachment to. Now, I would think about this pen for about 30 seconds. Now, I would think about that. I would hold it steady in my mind's eye, that image of this pen, of a pen. And then a couple times throughout the day for this game, this exercise, hold that vision steady in your mind. Then, over the next few days, watch it show up in your experience. Because what happens is anything that you hold purely without resistance has to, through the laws of energy, show up in your experience. Okay? So this pen or a pen, the image of a pen would start showing up. It would be that I'm walking down the street and someone throws a pen out of the window of their car. Could be that I'm on social media and there's some big meme on social media with a pen, right? Like, I'll start seeing it. I'll start seeing the signs. You can use things that are more obscure than pens, but just make sure that you don't have any sort of like attachment to it. Like, for example, like a certain flower. Like, if you love roses or you love a certain flower or you had a certain flower in your wedding bouquet, like, don't choose that flower. Like, choose something that's not going to be, that you have no attachment to. Because what it shows you is how simply and effortlessly this imagery, this symbol, this sign, this object will show up in your experience. And that's a great practice. You've got to practice that. Practice it. So the better you get at that, and you're like, wow, manifestation's easy, then you know what? You can start practicing with the things that you do have emotional attachment to. But you got to get clear about that so that you don't have any resistance. Because, when we have something riding on the line for things that we want, let's say I wanted to manifest, I have 2 cats, let's say I wanted to manifest a puppy. But I was like, gee, I don't know where this puppy is going to come from. Well, these other cats just kind of seem to find their way into my life. This is where you don't strangle the energy and you become conscious of where I might block that, or where you might block that. Oh, but you know what? I don't really have enough money to get a dog right now. Or, gosh, where am I going to find a breeder for that kind of dog that I want? Or, these dogs never come up as rescues, and, boy, this would be hard. I really don't know if I want the dog anyhow. That's going to be hard with 2 cats. You see all the resistance I'm putting in the way? So it makes it very difficult for that puppy to show up in my experience. Not saying that it won't eventually, but I'm putting I'm going to hold it out there for a while before it would be able to show up, and I get clearer with that intention. So, and you guys can learn from Abraham Hicks, more about this information, how to clear your vibration so that you're wobble free. There's no contradictory energy, all of that. I'm going to draw this full circle to signs in a moment. But so let's just say the puppy. So now I'm thinking about the puppy, and I'm like, oh yeah, the puppy. I see him. I know he's coming. I want him. Yeah, he's going to be great in our life. And I'm just doubt free, and I just hold the vision of the puppy in my mind. And then all of a sudden I'm talking to a friend. They're like, hey, did you know that so-and-so just had a litter of puppies and she's giving them away for free? I'm like, what? Puppies? Oh, that's the exact kind of puppy I wanted. Yeah, go call her. She's giving them away for free. Oh, that's perfect. You see, and then it'll just line up for you. That's how it can show up in your experience. And you can start doing this holding the vision exercise and practicing getting pure with your intention. Now, where this ties into signs is when you guys ask for the signs. When you're attached to the signs, you might come to this sort of epiphany. Am I pulling the signs into me? Or is the universe or my guides just sending them to me? That's when it gets tricky. Because here's the thing. Anything you hold in your mind's eye steady without resistance is going to show up in your experience. So if you're thinking about something a lot, putting your energy, thought, focus, emotion into it, and you don't really have resistance around it, it's going to show up. So then you might say, did I make that sign show up, or was it here just guiding me? I can tell you that in my 24 years working with signs, or 23 years working with signs, I've never once asked for a sign. I've never had to. It's not that it's wrong. You can definitely ask for clarity. You could say, but I think that asking for clarity is more general. It's saying, universe, guides, God, however you believe, if this is meant to be, please send me a sign, or please send me a sign of something, and let the universe show it to you. Sometimes you guys get so fixated on something specific. Well, if my twin flame loves me, send me a purple monkey, and then you're like looking for purple monkeys everywhere, and you're like, they're not showing up. I don't see purple monkeys anywhere. And that's the thing. Not only are you strangling the energy, but you're trying to draw it into you. And, divinely guided signs, you don't have to try to draw into you. They're coming to you to guide you. So remember that piece of it. I hope that makes sense. Remember when you ask for guidance, ask generally. Like, allow the guidance to come into you in whatever way it needs to come in. And when you don't need to ask for guidance, just trust that you're always being guided. It's so funny to me that you guys ask for signs, because it's like you're always guided. You just aren't aware of it. You just don't know what to look for. You just haven't opened your awareness up enough. So practice, practice, practice. Photo document your signs. Make journal logs. Photo document them if it's safe to. Don't take pictures in the car while you're driving if it's going to put you in jeopardy. But you know what I mean. Take pictures of the signs, photo document it, create journals, create your own language, write down what you think things mean, your hunches, see the patterns, observe them, smile upon them, release them. Don't hold on to the signs. Like, oh, I saw the sign that, I know it's a nod from the universe from my twin. Oh, he's coming back. Oh, she's coming back. Then you're hanging on, waiting, and you're strangling the energy once again. So our job is not to be attached to the signs. It's to receive and listen, trust, smile upon them, and release. Like, be grateful and then release. Okay, so I hope that that is helpful for all of you. If you guys do have questions, again, I'd be happy to extend my advice and my experience on the subject. And I hope that this is helpful. If you want to read my blog about manifestation, that kind of breaks down that whole manifestation exercise I was talking about, helps you clarify some of this. That is on vibeup.com, vibup.com. Click on blog, and it's called The Magic of Manifestation. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.